What's up, everyone? I'm making pumpkin pancakes this morning. Figured I'd film it and share how I do this for all you guys who happen to give a fuck. I know Colton Mullen won't because he's a lazy fuck, but you know, maybe Ahmed will. So anyway, I've already started. I tried to record this once, but it didn't save for some reason, so trying again. Oh Jesus. Strong facial blow at 11 a.m.
Alright, so the audio didn't record for some reason in this, but I was saying I used half a cup of wheat flour, half a cup of pumpkin puree, not pumpkin pie filling, 3/4 cup of almond milk, 2 servings of the egg substitute, a tablespoon of vanilla, and a teaspoon of both the baking powder and the baking soda. And then I'll talk about the pumpkin pie spice in the next clip, but I use that just obviously to my own preference.
What I've done here is just combine the dry ingredients. So I put the half a cup of flour in here, some baking powder, baking soda, about a teaspoon of each one, and this pumpkin pie spice from Trader Joe's. 10 out of 10. Obviously we're making pumpkin pancakes, so it's just a good option. If you don't have that, you could use like nutmeg and cinnamon, and a little bit of salt as well, which is going to add like a little pinch of salt. And just combine it all and just sift it all together so it's, you know, well balanced. Everything's mixed in well. That there flour.
Alright, so the other clip I had was like really long and rambly. So basically what I was saying here is that I add about 2 tablespoons of white vinegar into the almond milk. And what you want to go ahead and do is stir that up until the bubbles are forming. And then once those bubbles are forming at the top, you kind of just want to let it sit for 3 or 4 minutes before you add it to your dry mix. But what this does is it's kind of like a buttermilk substitute, so you get a really nice fluffy buttermilk style pancake without the buttermilk. So obviously a lot more health conscious and macro friendly if you're trying to diet on low fats or something like that. Oh, and I realized I had forgotten to put Juvia in the mix, so I just grabbed 2 packets of that and put that in. And before I start mixing the rest of the wet ingredients, I usually will start heating up my pan a little bit. So I just grab a griddle, or you could use a frying pan if you don't have one, and just put it on medium-high heat, maybe even just medium while it's warming up, so like 5, and then just use like coconut oil spray or something like that to obviously prevent sticking to the pan. Damn, I'm realizing I'm pretty bad at talking on camera, like in the moment. But anyway, I started mixing the other wet ingredients, and I didn't have any other bowls, so I just ended up chucking the pumpkin puree and the vanilla and egg whites in there and started mixing that together, and then I went ahead and added the milk in a second later.
So now this has been sitting for about 3 or 4 minutes. We're going to finally pour that milk in there, the vinegar in it, and then go ahead and stir that up, and I'll mix it up and show you guys what it looks like. I'll probably turn a light on, I guess, since I'm like making a cooking video and there's like no lighting whatsoever. So as you can see, the vinegar is kind of helping to keep it all really fluffy, and like if you mix it, you know, you can kind of feel it's very light. So this is a good mixture. You don't want it to be obviously too runny or too thick, but I mean, most of you guys have made pancakes before. You know what a pancake batter is supposed to look like, so something like that. Just mix it up. You know, you don't need to over mix it, but just make sure everything's obviously fucking mixed together well. And then we're gonna go get ready to put it on the griddle.
And right here I was just showing you guys the consistency of the batter to get the pancake result that I get at the end of the video. I guess if you want like a thinner pancake, you could just use more almond milk. If you want less, or if you want a more dense pancake, you could use less almond milk. I think the one I make is kind of a good balance just because of the pumpkin that's in it. It tends to make it a little bit denser, but if you're not going to use pumpkin, you could use a little bit more milk. That way they keep kind of fluffy and avoid being overly cakey or dense for a pancake.
That's it, and you can make them obviously as big or as little as your little faggot heart's desire. I like mine to be a little bit bigger. Just go ahead and put it on there. Yeah, see it. Alright, so I may or may not have added some chocolate chips to these, but as you can see, the sides there are starting to rise up, and there's not really too much bubbling on the top of these, but as soon as you start to see those kind of come up like that, rise up, or even bubble a little bit at the top, you know it's time to flip it. So get right under there, nice and swift, and just flip it on over. And there you go. All on the wrist, guys. All on the wrist. As I fuck that one up. Alright, those are pretty bad, but granted I'm doing this through like looking through the camera, so bear with me. As you can see though, it's a nice fluffy pancake. And it cooks really well. And there's really not much to it. I mean, there's not really any fat in this. Maybe a little bit from the coconut oil spray, but really egg whites, pumpkin puree, those both don't really have any fat in them. Flour doesn't really have any fat in it. So it's pretty much probably a decent amount of protein if you add it all up, and you could obviously add protein powder or something if you wanted to. I'm sure vanilla whey would taste pretty good in here, but you'd probably have to compensate with a little bit extra milk. But yeah, I'm gonna make some egg whites on the side, and I'll show you guys what everything looks like when it's done. Alright, that's off. Alright, there you have it. 7 pancakes and a container of egg whites. So that is the typical Matt Hubble breakfast. I eat this like almost every morning now. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's probably like roughly 70 or 80 carbs in that, minus the chocolate chips, and then like 50 grams of protein from the egg whites, probably some scarce protein from the pancakes as well. So, I mean, really still no fat in this whatsoever, like hardly any fat. So, if you're trying to keep your fats low, this is a good meal to go with. Very fluffy, very tasty. Alright, I'm just gonna eat this. Fuck you guys. Peace out, bye.